Yamaha and Honda are teaming up to make electric motorcycles? Well, in a sense, we'll talk about that. We also have pricing and packaging of the new Mitsubishi Outlander, and RAV4s have been catching fire. This could be a huge issue for Toyota. Let's get into it. Over at the Honda Japanese newsroom, agreed to create a replaceable battery consortium for electric motorcycles and small electric mobility in Europe. That's going to be the main focus of this, but I could definitely see it branching out to the rest of the world. Europe is the most strict when it comes to emissions regulations, and so this sort of team up is essential and super important for the adoption and mass spread of EV motorcycles and other vehicles as well. Let's jump into this. Honda, together with KTM, Piaggio, and C-Spa, and Yamaha, has agreed to establish a replaceable battery consortium with the aim of popularizing electric motorcycles and small electric mobility. Holy cow, guys, it's happening. The world is getting smaller. All these companies are being forced to work together to really split the cost and make sure they can survive in the ever clamping down emissions around the world. Let's get into it. The four companies have agreed to create a consortium that standardized replaceable battery systems can help popularize small electric mobility and manage the life cycle of more sustainable replaceable batteries. They also believe that standardization of batteries can be expected to extend the cruising range, shorten the charging time, reduced infrastructure cost, and reduced vehicle costs. So I'm going to try to break that down on how this sort of team up could achieve those things. Reduce vehicle cost. So if four companies have a standardized battery, really the manufacturers don't have to produce and kind of make tailor-made or boutique batteries to that specific manufacturer. They can mass produce these batteries for four companies, potentially more. They can add more companies to this, maybe Kawasaki or Suzuki, that's a potentiality. But yeah, the more batteries made under one profile, the cheaper it will be. Reduced infrastructure costs. How I see it is, you know, at a gas station, at least here in America, we have propane tanks where you can just swap out an empty propane tank, take the other propane tank for your grill or whatever you would use propane for. But it would just be a kiosk they could have around every single city at gas stations and refilling stations, EV refilling, whatever you want to call it, battery charging stations. And they just, boom, swipe their card, swap a battery, and they're on their way. Shortening the charging time, well, if they agree to a really high voltage charging system, that should be able to charge these batteries quicker. And then if they're able to extend the cruising range, you know, I think really it just comes down to these companies pooling their assets together to come up with maybe the most efficient battery for motorcycles and small EVs. So what do you guys think about that? We need to keep reading because we're only halfway done with the article. So the purpose of the consortium will define the technical specs and interchangeable battery systems for small electric mobility. They aim to acquire common standards within Europe and internationally in close cooperation with organizations, countries, Europe, and international standardization organizations. Now the consortium will be officially established in May of 2021, and they want their stakeholders to be involved in the process, which, I mean, it makes sense. It's a way for them to make money, boost their stock profile as well. And it would be really cool if they get more, I already mentioned earlier, but it'd be cool if they get more manufacturers in on this, because that would really speed up the adoption of EVs, having swappable batteries. Add Kawasaki in there, add Ducati, add Suzuki. And it says, yes, electric motorcycles, but three-wheeled vehicles and four-wheeled vehicles belonging to the L category. So it's not just motorcycles, it's a broader range. But we're not done. We need to talk about the Outlander. The Outlander got some details. We got the unveil a couple weeks ago. It was pretty exciting. It's a very good looking crossover. This vehicle is so important for Mitsubishi's survival in many parts of the world. And we got the packaging here. It starts at $25K. The two-wheel drive model, pretty much $26K. And if you want the Sauk or the Super all-wheel control, it's $2,000 on top of the two-wheel drive model. So if you guys want to pause at any moment here, what I thought was cool is that for a little price, for just a little bit, you get 20-inch alloy wheels. So just stepping up to the ES convenience package gets you the largest wheels, which is going to really help this vehicle look a little bit more premium. You know, it's not charging a whole lot. This vehicle is not very expensive, but those 20-inch wheels definitely are going to help it make it look that much better. And I'm going to go through really slowly. If you want to pause, just pause so you can read on these packages. There's also going to be launch editions of the SE And then there also is going to be a launch edition of the SEL. Now the SEL launch edition is pretty much full fat, has every single option on there. Heated steering wheel, front door accent with LEDs, semi-aniline leather. You got the heads-up display, rear sunshades on the doors, chrome hood badge, and then the launch editions have Amazon services tied in with it because the vehicle was announced on Amazon Prime Live. But yeah, this thing is going to be very well equipped for a very attractive price, and I'm excited to see how well they're going to be able to sell this new Outlander. It's make or break for them with this vehicle, and I think they'll have a good shot here as long as it's marketed well. That's another thing altogether. Over automotive news, US probes nearly 1.9 million Toyota RAV4s for fire risks. Holy cow, this has been, the fires have been affecting Kias and Hyundais like the plague recently, and it doesn't look like Toyota is completely immune from fire as well. So let's read into it. The NHTSA said the preliminary evaluation is for 2013 to 2018 RAV4 vehicles, and it comes after 11 reports of fires. Well, 11 out of 1.9 million is an extraordinarily small amount, but if there's a risk there and if it's bad enough, Toyota will have to issue a recall. And for that many vehicles, you know, they might be able to narrow down more specifically what models, where the battery, you know, they can figure that out. But if it's for the whole 1.9 million with the recall, I can't imagine how much money that would cost Toyota. The agency said some drivers experienced stalling prior to the fire in half of the instances where the vehicle was in motion. The 12-volt battery was identified as the area of origin in a majority of incidents reviewed, said the agency. Now, Toyota's got a really good track record when it comes to issuing recalls. They typically do it way before the NHTSA gets involved. So it will be interesting to see if there's enough evidence here to support a widespread recall due to fire risk, maybe related to that 12-volt battery issue. And guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm in the basement of my parents' house. It is just weird trying to work when I'm not in my own studio, not in my own house. Half the videos I've been making have been inside the RAV4 Prime, which I'm still reviewing. Again, that's not easy given the situation where I'm in flux. I'm moving down to Florida. And if you guys are excited for Honda and Yamaha working together, I could really care less about KTM and Piaggio, but I'm excited to see what they're able to come up with. Some sort of standardized swappable battery system. Sounds pretty cool, sounds really promising. Guys, I'll leave it there. Subscribe for more Japanese and Korean auto news, and definitely stay tuned for the RAV4 Prime review, which hopefully I'll get up before the end of the week. No guarantees though with my situation. Guys, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your support. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, have a wonderful day, and peace out.